Hey there, I'm Melinda with beanhoppers.com, and today I'm going to be talking about the Breville Precision Brewer with the thermal carafe. This brewer is SCA certified, which means that the Specialty Coffee Association has certified that it can make a perfect cup of coffee, which is pretty cool. Just got this coffee maker in a week ago. I've been playing with all the settings, and there's a lot of settings, so it's going to take a minute to go through them all because you're going to want to hear about each one of them, and I'm going to give you my opinion about each one of them. Some things that I noticed as soon as I got this coffee maker are that it's really sturdy and really well made. Now, this is an expensive coffee maker. It's $300 on Amazon, right? So before you want to spend $300 on a coffee maker, you kind of want it to do your laundry, and it doesn't. But it does make amazing coffee in a lot of different ways, and this brewer has something for everyone, and I'll show you all about it in just a second. I'll start with the fact that it's noticeably a high quality because all of the parts that came with it are really sturdy and heavy duty plastic. This plastic reservoir is really sturdy and thick and substantial, as well as the thermal carafe. I chose the thermal carafe because I really prefer my coffee staying warm rather than having to reheat it. Like, I'll take a small amount of coffee and add more coffee to it later to warm it up instead of trying to reheat your coffee, which is a great way to reheat your cup when you've let it sit for too long. Putting it on a warming plate, it continues to cook the coffee, and after about 5 minutes, it changes the flavor and doesn't taste good. Now, this substantial, thick, heavy-duty carafe feels really good. It does have a plastic handle, but you'll notice that the plastic on it isn't that tinny, cheap, thin plastic. It's the heavy-duty, nice, like restaurant quality. You'll also notice that the opening is really wide. You can stick your hand in there and wash it out. I really love that because one of the things I don't like about the thermal carafes, they have the little tiny neck and you can't really wash them out unless you have a brush. Now you can see that you're going to be able to get it nice and clean. So the thermal carafe is fantastic. The lid is fantastic. Even the lid, it's plastic, yes, but it's really heavy duty, that thick, heavy plastic. When you put it on the thermal carafe, you just turn it once, and then the coffee maker brews right through the lid, and you don't have to turn the turn the lid to pour your coffee. It's already on pour, which is really nice. So you grab your carafe out and you pour it, and then when you pull the lid off, you're not twisting it, you're just popping it off like one little twist. So the carafe, fantastic. Another thing about this coffee maker is that it's got this reservoir. Now, it's not removable, which I would prefer if it was removable so I could clean it a little easier. It's kind of a bug, but it's really not that big of a deal because there is such a wide opening that you can really have a lot of access to it and wipe it out if you feel like wiping it out. And you can also descale your machine, which you should do anyway, just to clean out all the inner parts from all the oils. So the great thing about this is that it's clearly marked 4, 6, 8, 10 cups, or you could go down to 8 ounces of coffee, 16, I can't even read this, I'm blind, sorry. 20 ounces, 30 ounces, 40 ounces, so you can see exactly how much water you're putting in, and you know exactly, because of that, you know exactly how much coffee to use. Now, they go in 5-ounce increments, and I realize that a lot of us are used to thinking in 6-ounce cups of coffee because typically in the US we say 6 ounces is a cup. In European countries they say 5 ounce is a cup. So it does throw my mouth off a little bit, but they give you this scoop that coincides with the number of cups you're brewing. So they say to use 1 scoop per cup. You know, so if you have 4 cups, you use 4 scoops. I do like to use a little more coffee personally. So I typically measure out 11 grams per 6 ounces. And like I said, the 5 ounce mark throws me off a little bit, but it doesn't really matter very much. The main feature with this coffee maker is the fact that the water gets as hot as it needs to, between 196 and 205, which brews the perfect. And that's another great feature about this machine. It's got so many options that you can't go wrong, honestly. It comes with a flat bottom filter, mesh filter, and it also comes with a few paper filters that are flat bottom that go into the basket holder. That's what it is. Okay, so this basket holder is nice and sturdy like the rest of it. Really heavy duty, nice quality, not plasticky, but it is plastic. Really wide opening, really deep. The features on it are super easy. They also provide you with a cone filter. So if you like cone filtered coffee or flat bottom coffee, you can do it any way you like it. And what they do recommend though is that you use a cone for anything up to 8 cups, which on here is 40 ounces. And then you use the flat bottom filter when you brew anything over that. Then the flat bottom paper filters just can go in the bottom of the carafe instead of using the mesh filter. And one of my favorite things about this is, so you pop this cone filter in, which I actually prefer the cone filter. I don't brew giant cups of coffee myself. The great thing about this is when you pop it in, it's just so easy to pop in. It pops in any direction, spins around if you feel like it. I mean, just play with it. But it's nice. It's in there, nice and sturdy. And in the top here, it's got this little mechanism that pushes down and brews the coffee into the carafe, which pushes this down. So when it comes up, it's ready to pour. Now, you can brew without the carafe. Without the carafe, you want to put this in there. You can use a single cup, to-go cup. You can brew anything below 20 ounces, can be a single cup, cold brew, or over ice. So you can do up to 20 ounces without the carafe. It won't even give you the options on the settings if you have over 20 ounces. It won't give you these options. You can brew it into a travel cup. You can brew it into a regular cup. So if you're home alone, you only want 1 cup of coffee, no more curing needed. You can just brew a 10, 12 ounce cup of coffee, single serve. So how great is that? Another reason to buy this thing. It's beautiful. What I do is I fill up my water jug, my ball jar up to my 24 ounce mark, so I know how much water I'm bringing from the Brita filter over to the coffee maker, so I get it filled up right. Or you could use the thermal carafe to pour the water in up to your level. So those are the great features of the coffee maker, but let me tell you how it works. Every time I've made a cup of coffee in this, it's perfect. On all settings, there's only one setting I didn't quite like. So the heating element on this machine, what it does is it keeps the water at the optimum temperature throughout the entire brewing cycle, which is really important because your water isn't cooling off as it's going over your coffee grounds, right? So all of your coffee is properly extracted. It's the same temperature, and let me tell you, it really makes a difference. And it heats the water up really fast. So it's a pretty quick machine. You're not waiting 10 minutes. Let me see. I even made notes because there's so many things I want to talk about. You can auto start, so you can get your machine set up in the morning. But at night, you can get your machine set up at night before you go to bed. and you can set all the settings on it, and it'll brew it to whatever time you want, whatever time you set it for in the morning. Now, the only downfall of that is that you have to pre-grind your coffee. But, you know, when you're in a hurry in the morning and you need to run out the door, you know, sometimes you have to do it. And I did it the other day, and it was kind of nice. But, you know, I want to grind my coffee right before I brew. So I might use it once in a while, cheat a little bit. Okay, so all the modes. It's got fast mode. It takes all the water out of the water reservoir through the coffee and into the carafe as fast as possible without overflowing the filter basket. So if you're kind of in a hurry, you need to make a full pot of coffee, this is the fastest brewer on the market for a full pot of coffee. And then gold setting. So when I talked about the perfect cup of coffee that they were certified with by the SCA, those settings are used in the gold setting. So no matter how many ounces you brew, it will heat it to the proper temperature. The water will flow at the proper weight over the amount of coffee that you're using. Now it does adjust for certain things too. So it obviously adjusts from up to 8 cups and over 8 cups. So the gold setting is, it also has some bloom time. I didn't time it. I think it's about 30 seconds. But it does allow the coffee to bloom. So when you have fresh coffee, that's really important. It does improve the flavor of your coffee. Strong setting. So basically the strong setting holds the water in contact with the coffee grounds a little bit longer, so it goes a little slower. And it also tells you to use a little more coffee. So obviously you're gonna have stronger coffee. But I think naturally it will brew stronger coffee just based on the water flowing at a slower rate. Then over ice. Now this setting is not my favorite. I think that I would just prefer using the cold brew setting instead of the over ice, because it tells you if you brew the coffee hot, you let it sit at room temperature to cool off, you put it in the refrigerator for a couple of hours, and then you put it over ice, but then you're waiting 2 hours for a cup of coffee, which I think I might die. So I would just rather wake up to cold brew and put it over ice. The over ice says to use a little extra coffee, so you will have room to allow it to dilute a little bit with the ice. Okay, next one, my brew. Kind of my favorite because we all like particular things, right? I don't know of another coffee maker that has this kind of setting. It's awesome. In the my brew setting, can you tell I'm excited? I love this thing. Okay. So my brew setting has a bloom time. You can set the bloom time to whatever you like or not. You can set the brew temperature. I currently have it set at 201, which seems to be working for the coffee that I'm using right now, which is the Bean Hoppers Italian Roast, and it's amazing. Okay, so flow rate. You can set the flow rate to slow, medium, or fast. And it also has the pour over method. You take your pour over unit and you set it on top of this little shelf. And this doesn't need to push down on that. It just flows right through. It's a little hole. Okay. And then you can put any kind of carafe or anything under your pour over. Or you can brew it into the carafe, but you'll want to take the lid off, because if you have the lid on, it'll push this up a little bit. So I don't know of any other coffee maker that will allow you to do a pour over in this fashion. However, caveat, in order to do a pour over, you have to get an adapter, another piece of equipment that replaces the existing shower on here to something that mimics the pour over style a little bit better, and so it will work better. There you go. What else? So my brew, that's where you would select that. Cold brew. I have kind of picky about cold brew. I don't really like a lot of methods, but I did try this, and I have to tell you, it was really great. The only negative about the cold brew was, I don't need that in there, was that I can only brew up to 20 ounces. And I really like brewing cold brew in large batches because we just gobble it right up. But it's really cool because to do cold brew, you take out all the things, and then you put the flat bottom paper filter in there, and their recipe is 3 times the amount of coffee you would normally use for the amount of ounces you're brewing. So if you use 4 scoops for 20 ounces, you would use 12 scoops for that same 20 ounces. So you put the coffee in there, and I think I actually did the medium coarse grind. It was so good. Filled it up to 20 ounces, and then what it does is it takes all the cold water and it puts it into the filter basket, and it lets it sit there for however many hours you set. You can set it for how many hours you want it to steep, and then at the end of that timer, it automatically releases the water from the filter into your vessel. Now, I like to just put it in my ball jar because that's what I use in the refrigerator to store it anyway, and then I can just put a lid on it, and then it's great. It's all ready for you when you wake up in the morning, and you have 20 ounces, which will last us a day or two, maybe. Not very long. We gobble it up, like I said. What else? Let's see. Strong cold brew. And then the last thing on here is the settings. You can set the clock, the sound, standby time, which I actually don't know what that is, but it's standby for instructions, I guess. Standby, and the filter type, this is important. You'll want to know this. Before you use your brewer, you want to set what kind of filter type you're going to be using, because the machine automatically will adjust to what filter type you're using. So I like to use the cone filter the best. And what else? I think that's it. Overall, my main cons are that the water reservoir isn't removable. That this is in 5-ounce increments instead of 6, but it's really not that big of a deal. And the scoop only holds about 7 grams of coffee, and so it throws my mouth off a little bit. But it's not that hard to figure out, because in all that, those little things is definitely worth this using this machine. So overall, this is an amazing coffee maker that does something for everyone. You should definitely buy one if you like to change up the way you brew your coffee. If you like to have coffee one setting all the time, doesn't matter. It's probably not worth the money for you. But if you like to change it up and do cold brew, and you like to do stronger coffee and without having to think about it, and you like to do your own settings, it's definitely worth the money. And also the fact that it's so sturdy compared to any other coffee maker I've ever used. So with that, I've provided a link below for Amazon if you'd like to just go over and pick one up, try it out. Hey, if you don't like it too, it's always returnable. I would try it. If you want fresh coffee to put in your coffee brewer, I have a place for that too. Go to beanhoppers.com, order some coffee, and try it out, and let me know how much you love it. Thank you, and I really hope that this video was helpful. I know it was really long if you even made it to the end of this video, but I hope it was helpful and informative. Thanks. Have a great day.
there it goes, it drips. That's what I'm talking about, it shouldn't do that. And the only way I get it to stop is by coming in and having, oh, I can't even get it to stop. It's not working, there it goes. So it's stopping because I had to make it manually stop. And now it's just dripping, little drips out.
Got my Breville set up. Beautiful under the counter. I paired it with an Amazon slider tray, which makes it easy to pull out and access under my countertops. Compartment slides out easy. 2 pour functions. Beautiful stainless containers. Keep it very, very warm. Coffee all day. Top section. Cone filter. Easy to pop in and out. Functions take a little bit of getting used to, but in the end, you just learn to get it started and go through all the functions.